Alright, what's up with SCORN? Honestly, I don't know. This might be the most bizarre game that I cover. SCORN was developed by EB Software and released on October 14th, 2022 as an exclusive for Xbox Series consoles. It was initially shown off in 2016 with the intention to release in parts and not all at once. It kept getting delayed, and then when it launched, the new consoles were out and Xbox snatched up the exclusivity. The game starts with this sleepy meat man waking up and wandering around this facility. The thing I kinda like about SCORN is that it doesn't give you instruction on what to do. And by that I mean literally nothing. No objective marker, no objective description, no dialogue from anyone, period, nothing. First playthrough, I was doubling back, tripling back, until I realized that they wanted me to find a way to open this big ass door. There are two controls, so you need to find a way to trigger the other panel. And this is also where the only missable achievement is. You get an egg from this puzzle and then you hatch it, which has another meat man inside of it. There's an achievement for killing this guy and just taking his hand, and there's one for saving him and putting him in this door panel lock for eternity, probably killing him. Win-win. As you move throughout the facility, you'll access new weapons and gadgets that will be necessary to progress. You'll get this bolt gun thing that acts as your first weapon and is a key type item for some of the locks. There's a pillar here, it explodes and it kills you. You wake up as another meat man outside now, which is a nice change. Presumably outside of the same facility, which you find out to be exactly the case. As you re-enter, you see a parasite type creature that leads you deeper and deeper in until it eventually latches onto you. Everything leads to this parasite thing being the same meat man that you just played as, the one that died in the explosion, since you get access to that same bolt gun. But the guy ain't all bad. Looking down is your inventory screen basically, and the dude holds your health unit and your clearance device, which I'll circle back to a little bit later. Before I talk about the enemies, please give the video a like if you're liking it and to subscribe. It's free and it really helps out a lot. Thanks. The enemies in the game come in a few different forms. The main enemies are these f***s right here, and I've never been so confused on what their role is in this world. First you see them dangling like this, which makes part of my body tingle, and then you see like a rope or a vine made out of them shortly after. I don't know, don't ask me. I killed this first dude and I got this dope animation of him getting stuck on the end of my shaft and having to shake him off. There are more enemies as you go through the game and more weapons with pros and cons that allow you to use different types of ammo. Speaking of weapons, there are different devices around the facility that do specific jobs. The first one that you come across grants this key-like gadget on your hand. Other devices upgrade your weapons, your health, your clearance levels, and other stuff. This clearance device has 6 possible lights on it, allowing you to access specific areas around the facility. You use it a bit at the start of the game, where the areas are more linear. As you get deeper into the game, you get introduced to slightly larger and more open areas, reminiscent of traditional Metroidvanias, so you need to get a specific item or clearance level to advance. Honestly, there isn't much I can say about the game that won't ruin an aspect of it for you. The scope of the areas are really dope to experience. Also, some parts of the late game get quite difficult. They give you a good challenge at times. I did get lost at one spot, but it's pretty easy for me to get my bearings and I found my way after a short survey of the area. One more thing before I forget. Obviously there are puzzles that I've shown. One level had you at 3 different areas doing puzzles that get more and more difficult. The last one was very f***ing hard. And I'm a puzzle dude, I love puzzles, but this one was tough. It had to do with rotating arms and spring locks. I think you'll know what I mean when you get there. Before we wrap it up, I want to talk about the setting. I'd be lacking if I didn't mention the studio's heavy influence of H.R. Geiger. There's a lot of sexual imagery, pipes, fleshy, decaying environment, pneumatic devices, and it wasn't really until I did some research for the game that I found it being called biopunk, which is pretty understanding. But seriously, what the f*** is going on? I tried to look a little deeper into it, initially thinking it was supposed to be a parallel or a vision of hell, but some things don't line up with that. A bit more obvious is that the whole game is a dark look at sex, death, and the reproductive process as a whole. A lot of scenes in the game reference situations and complications regarding birth, like stillbirth, abortions, health complications, stuff like that. You'll probably catch more than I did because I'm pretty stupid. Anyway, should you play SCORN? Well, it's the perfect game. If you want a pool full of naked ladies. If you wanted to get over here. If you wanted to get spit on by this little shit. And if you want to fall into the floor. What's up everyone, thanks for watching. Closing thoughts. The game was overall really enjoyable. The weapons could use a little work, they feel very heavy when you're using them. The pacing is also a little weird. The clearance thing that I mentioned, you use it at the start, and then you go on a long stretch without even touching it, and then you get it fully upgraded all in one area later on. The lack of direction can be a little off-putting, but I found it kind of refreshing. Anyways, if you decide to check it out, let me know what you think about it. Thanks so much for watching. Stay safe.